You ready? Hi, everyone. So welcome to the live stream today. Very much excited for having you on the live stream. It's been a while since I came to you guys on the live stream, but hey, I'm here so I can answer some questions for you on the live stream. Today, I want to just take some questions from you. If you're having some challenging questions in your revision or having some hard questions that you would want me to share my thought on, I want you to bring it up, put it in the chat, put it in the comment box, and join us, and let's begin the conversation real quick. Today, we are preparing ourselves for the ICA May 2021 examination. Approximately, we have about 6 or 7, maybe 9 days to go for the examination, starting with the financial reporting and corporate reporting, and then the rest of the subjects will continue in that regard. So welcome to the stream. I see some of you guys joining. Smash the like button when you join the stream. Remember to share the video. Let's get as many students as possible watching the stream, so together we can assist a lot of students on the stream. And most importantly, I wanted to comment in the comments section on Facebook with any questions you have for me, and then comment in the chat box on YouTube also with any questions that you have for me. I want to take your questions. It's a Q&A session. Then I'm going to provide you with some strategies on how you structure yourself, the key issues that you need to pay attention to. So let me know in the chat box. Let me know in the comment box. Thank you very much. I see some thumbs up on Facebook and thumbs up on YouTube as well. Welcome to the live stream, and let's get into the discussion today. So like I said, so far so good. We've run about 15 weeks in the ICA examination, or as we prepare for the ICA May 2021 examination, and the journey has been interesting so far. We've had a lot of discussions coming in, and we want to, like I said, share some thoughts and answer any questions that you guys are having. So comment in the chat box if there are any questions you have for me. Bring it up. I'm going to share my screen with you, and then I answer any questions that you may be having as you prepare for your examination. Right, I see some comments coming in on YouTube. I'm going to be taking them real quick, and then we continue with our discussion. Let's see what we got. So let me bring up my comments really quick. Okay, so Timothy Ahas says, good evening, sir. Good evening, Timothy. I hope you're doing well. Sharifa Bimpoma, hi, Nhyira. Good evening, sir. Good evening, Sharifa. I hope that you're doing well. Ebenezer Kwanzaa said, hello, Nhyira. Hi, Ebenezer. I hope that you're doing well. Facebook, I see some of you guys joining the stream. Welcome. Comment in the comment section. Let me know what you are looking at. Let me know the subject you are writing, the areas of challenges that you are having, and then let me share some thought with you real quick on how you need to position yourself strategically to pass the examination. This is a Q&A, so hit me with any questions you have. Maybe there is a standard you are dealing with that you are having challenge with, or maybe there is a specific issue in management accounting, in financial management, in corporate reporting, in strategic case study. Whatever it is that you want me to share my thought on, don't hesitate, put it in the chat box. I'm going to be reading all of your comments in that regard. DK Jones said, hi, hello DK, I hope you're doing well. Ebenezer Kwanzaa said, God bless you for your good works. Amen, and God bless you too, Ebenezer. DK, we said, much love from Takrady. Thank you very much, Ebenezer. Love you too so much, and thank you for supporting and being with us. DK Jones said, how to revise to pass my ICAG, that is the Institute of Chartered Accountants Nigeria examination. Like I say, the issue about this all the time, the way you pass the exams is to be able to follow what I call the academic success triangle. So number one, whatever subject that you are writing, you must understand the basic principles, the basic concepts surrounding the subjects that you are writing in that regard. So let's say you are writing financial reporting. Just an example, if you're writing financial reporting, at the backbone or the backbone of financial reporting is the accounting standards. So you want to make sure that you understand the basic principles on the accounting standards, IAS 16, IAS 33, IAS 38, IAS 36, IFRS 15, IFRS 9, financial instruments, and then all of the other standards. These are the basic issues, because all other things being equal, if you understand the standards very well, that position you strategically in order for you to pass the examination. So once you spend some time to understand the basic principles and concepts, you go to the second stage, and that is to understand the structure of the exams. And like I say all the time, you want to understand what is the structure of the exams that I'm going into. Now, the way you understand the structure of the exams is to go into the past questions and look at how the examiner is setting the questions. But not only that, look at the syllabus and how the examiner has stated that the exams is going to be like. So you want to spend time to look at the structure of the exams. It is only when you understand the basic principles, understand the structure of the exams, then you can come to the third stage, and that is to practice a lot of questions. So that is what I mean by the academic success triangle. You understand the basic principles, you make sure you understand the structure of the examination and get an examination analysis document. Then you come to the third stage to practice a lot of questions. One thing that I've seen a lot of students doing is to practice a lot of questions. No, you can solve 200 questions. Actually, you can solve questions from 1963 up until 2020, and you will still go to the exam hall and fail. But as a matter of fact, the more questions you solve, the more frustrated you will become, because it is not about how many questions you solve, it's about the application of the principles that you have learned. So that is why it is very important for you to spend time to really understand the basic principles. Like for instance, financial instruments, IFRS 9. If you pick financial instruments, IFRS 9, what is the basic principle? If you don't understand the basic principle of financial instruments, how financial assets are supposed to be treated, either P&L or OCI, how financial liability are supposed to be accounted for, initial recognition, the treatment of transaction costs. If bonds are issued at a subsidized interest rate, how are they supposed to be treated? So if you don't understand the principle, then you can solve 1 million questions. You will actually be frustrated the more questions you solve. So if you ask me, how do you prepare yourself to pass the examination? What I'm going to be saying is that understand the basic principle for whatever subject that you're writing. Spend some time to understand the structure of the examination, get an examination analysis document to understand the mind of the examiner and the areas that the examiner is always excited about, and then you spend some time to solve a lot of questions. I believe that if you do that, you position yourself strategically in order for you to pass the examination, and most importantly, take your life to the next level. So DJ Jones, that is what I would say there in that regard. I think you said you are writing corporate strategic management and ethics. Now, that is a very interesting paper there. A lot of theories coming in there. Issues about governance is critical there. Issues about ethics is critical there. Dealing with issues about the key modules, you must understand them very well. The environmental analysis, the macro environment, the internal environmental analysis, the external environmental analysis, dealing with the international environmental analysis, dealing with the competitive or the industry analysis. And you must know the modules used for each of these things, and not just chew them as understanding them, but also making sure you know how to apply them. Because in such examinations is about the application of what you know, the application, what it is that you have learned all this while in that case. So make sure you understand those issues. Governance is critical. The examiner is going to be throwing something at you on governance. Ethics is critical. There's going to be something there. Then the modules are going to be there. The framework, SWOT analysis, valuation analysis, dealing with a Porter's diamond, dealing with a Porter's generic module, dealing with all of those key modules are critical that you need to understand. So DJ Jones, that is what I would say there in that case. Timothy said, please, can you touch on what I posted on the page? I don't really understand their treatment. Thanks. What is the requirement of the question? Because what you posted on the page, you just stated how provision for realized profit to be calculated. And if you are giving margin, margin is applied to selling price. So if you are giving margin, then you're just going to take the percentage of that on the selling price, and that is all. So I don't know the full spectrum of the requirements of the question and what you are supposed to do. But as per the questions you ask, if you give a margin of 25% and you are giving a selling price of whatever amount, all you do is to apply the margin on the selling price, and that gives you the profit in that case. But like I said, I don't know the requirements of the question that you are looking at to know exactly what you need to do. Sandra Asari said, how to pass principles of taxation. Right. So when it comes to principles of taxation, it's an interesting area. It's one of the papers that is very easy to pass. Actually, in my opinion, in the entire syllabus, one of the easy papers to pass. Financial reporting is one of the easy papers to pass. And principles of taxation is also one of the easy papers to pass. Now, when I say easy, I mean easy in the context of something. So for instance, if you're doing principles of taxation, number one, you must understand, again, the structure of the exams. Going into the principle of taxation exams, you're definitely going to be getting a question on corporate tax liabilities. You're definitely going to be getting a question on income tax liabilities. There is a question in the exam hall waiting for you on tax administration in Ghana. There is a question there waiting for you on value-added tax and withholding tax. So all of these topics are critical topics that you need to understand. So now, how do you position yourself to pass the principles of taxation exams? The way you position yourself to pass the principles of taxation exams is going back to understand the principles that underline the treatment of various issues. For instance, when you take corporate tax liabilities, there are a number of principles you need to understand about corporate tax liabilities. Number one, you should be able to know how to deal with allowable deductions, non-allowable deductions. You should be able to deal with financial cost, financial gain. You should be able to deal with interest on loan using the thin capitalization concept. You should be able to know the rule governing repairs and improvements, which is 5% of the written down value of the asset shall be allowable as an expenses, and the excess will be capitalized in the class of assets. Then you must also understand capital allowance, that there are 5 classes of assets. From class 1 to class 3 assets do the pooling system. In other words, assets lose their identity once they are put in the pool. For that reason, what is going to be happening then is that when we buy no assets, we just add it to the pool and then we charge our capital allowance on it, and that is on a reducing balance basis. Class 4 and class 5 assets, they don't lose their identity, and that is a straight line method in that case. So that is these are the principles. Do you understand it? These are the principles. So when you pick each of the topics, you need to be able to understand the basic principles underlying it. If you take something like income tax liabilities of individuals as well, what are the basic principles there? You must know how to deal with bonuses. You must know how to deal with overtime. You must know how to deal with the reliefs. You must know how to deal with provident fund, that the provident contribution into the provident fund allowable for tax purposes shall be up to 16.5% of the basic salary of the person. You must know how to treat overtime. You must know how to treat bonuses. You must know how to treat loans given to employees by the employer. These are all basic principles that you need to understand in that regard. I have the opportunity to have been able to publish books on taxation, and for my students as well, they have what we call the summary key principles that they need to understand about principles of taxation, which is being updated as I speak to you, which will be released to them actually maybe tomorrow, in addition to whatever they have already been given on the basic principles. And this summary document provides you those principles that you must know offhand as you go into the exam. So Sandra Asari, if you ask, how do I pass principles of taxation? Know that the key topics are going to be there. Corporate tax, income tax, capital allowance, withholding tax, value-added tax. These are the major topics. Yeah, there are other topics there like fiscal policy, national insurance, chargeable gains. Those things are there. Tax administration is also a critical area. But these are key things that you need to look out for, and make sure you spend time to understand the basic principles and basic concepts on these topics. Then you expose yourself to a number of questions. I don't have my ICA question kit here, but the ICA question kit is a good material there that has a lot of questions in there that can help you in order for you to position yourself strategically to pass the examination. So Sandra, if you ask me how to pass principles of taxation, that is what I will say in that regard. Let me know in the chat box if that was helpful for you. I see some of you guys joining. You are welcome to the stream. This is a Q&A session, so hit me with some specific questions. Hit me with your areas of challenges. Let me share some thoughts with you. I see you guys joining on Facebook. Give us a thumbs up on the video. Please share the video. We want to get to as many students as possible so that we can together assist a lot of students. Remember, my objective as always is to be able to provide a platform and the content for students so that we can assist students to go in there to pass the examination. Like I tell you guys all the time, when I read the chief examiner's report, it breaks my heart because you see a lot of students going into the exam hall but failing the exams. What is the problem? It is not just about the fact that there are no materials, good materials available, but then it goes beyond that, about the students themselves not understanding what it is that they need to do in order for them to pass the examination. So share the video. Let's get to as many students as possible, and give us a thumbs up on the video when you join, especially on YouTube as well. Let's get a video engaging. The more engaging the video is, the more YouTube can push the video so we can reach many other people. So your thumbs up, your sharing, and your like is actually helping someone else to get this video so that we can help a lot of students across the country, across the continent, and across the globe become more successful. Let me take some of the questions as well on YouTube, Facebook real quick so that the Facebook people don't feel neglected. So YouTube, I'll come back to you to take some of the questions there. I see some questions coming in the chat. Senior Kawewa said, please, you are given asset beta. How do you find equity beta? Help me with the formula. You use the gearing formula. Let's see if I can pull that up real quick here. You use the equity beta formula to change it to that. That formula will even be provided to you in the exam hall. So you just use the formula to bring it to equity beta. Let me see if I can just get that formula from my slide here. Then I could share my screen with you to talk about that as well. Let's see. Okay, so I guess I get my slide here. Yeah, so let me share my screen with you and show you the formula. Let's see. Yep. So that's my screen up there. And the document I'm sharing is from opentuition.com. So this is the asset beta formula. Are you getting it, Senior Kewawa? Now, so what happens is that you're going to be using this formula. The reason is that even though the second one is there, the beta of debt is 0. So since the beta of debt is 0, the second part of the formula is usually not used because the net effect at the end of the day is going to be 0. So what you do is that you substitute the formula given to you. So if you are given asset beta, it's provided to you. This is the equity beta. So you just do a change of subject, calculate your value of equity, calculate your value of debt, If there is tax given to you in the question, you put the tax in there, then you do a change of subject, and then you'll be able to get your equity beta in that regard. So senior Kawewa, that is how you deal with the asset beta and equity beta and those things. Kofi Isaac said, sir, please, can you brief me with some areas in principles of taxation? I think I just did that with Sandra's question. When it comes to principles of taxation, critical issues, corporate tax liabilities, income tax liabilities, tax administration in Ghana, dealing with withholding taxes, dealing with value-added taxes. Spend time to understand the principles of these areas because they are critical, and there's definitely going to be a question on that in the exam hall for you. So you want to be on the lookout for it in the exam hall. Abubakar Adamu Bello said, please say, if an asset were revalued upward and later it was revalued downward, how can we account for it in the financial statement? Right, so let me pull up my notes here in that case. This is a strategic case study, our pre-scene discussion that I was just bringing up to you. So YouTube, let me show you what exactly is going on. Right, so the asset was previously revalued upward, right? So let's say that in year one, the asset was having a carrying value of whatever, let's say 2,000, and then it was revalued upward. Maybe let's say at the end of the year, let's say 4,000. So you are seeing revaluation surplus of 2,000. So let's say that in the second year, year two, from your question, let's say the carrying amount is now 3,500, but the fair value is now, let's say, 2,000. So here you are seeing a revaluation loss of 1,500. Now, subsequent downward revaluation of a previously upward revalued asset, the downward revaluation or the revaluation surplus will be written off against the previously recognized gain. Any excess goes to the P&L. Sounds good? Downward revaluation of assets from a previously upward revalued asset shall be written off against the previously recognized upward or recognized revaluation surplus. Any excess is what goes to the P&L. So if I look at my illustration here, you could see that my revaluation surplus is 2,000 from the last year. But now the current year, I'm getting a loss of 1,005. So what is going to be happening is that I will just debit the revaluation surplus account with 1,005 and credit property, plant, and equipment with 1,005. Now, if I debit revaluation surplus with 1,005, it means my revaluation surplus account will be left with only what? 500. And that will go to the statement of financial position. That will go to the statement of financial position. Note that this is an OCI treatment. So you are dealing with debiting revaluation surplus, and that will be a negative as well in the OCI in that regard. Now, assuming the revaluation surplus account had an amount less than the revaluation loss, what's going to be happening is that the excess is taken to the P&L account. The excess is taken to the P&L account. So Abubakar Adamu Bello, that is the answer to the question there. Let me know if that makes sense for you and if that answered the question that you were trying to ask in that regard. Still on Facebook, let's take some questions still. Please, what are the rates applicable to bonus and overtime and how do we treat them? Okay, so let me just go in there and share my summary principle that I was talking to you about a moment ago and then show you what is it. So this is a summary of the principles that you need to understand about taxation that I shared with my students in that regard. So your question is about bonus. So when it comes to bonuses, the rule is that bonuses that is below 15% of the basic salary of the individual is taxed at 5%. You can see the rate here coming up. It starts at 5%. Anything in excess, anything in excess of the 15% of the basic salary of the individual is included in the total accessible income of the individual. It's included in the total accessible income of the individual. So that is the taxation of bonuses. Bonuses are taxed based on the 15% of the annual basic salary or monthly basic salary. So if the bonus is less than 15% of basic salary, then it is taxed at 5%. If the bonus is more than 15% of the basic salary, the first 15% is taxed at 5%. The excess is added to the income or chargeable income of the individual that is being taxed in that regard. For overtime, overtime is given strictly to only junior staff. Overtime is given strictly to only junior staff. Now, a junior staff is simply a staff whose annual salary is not more than 18,000 Ghana cedis, or whose monthly salary is not more than 1,500 Ghana cedis per month. What it means is that if someone is a junior staff and the person earns more than this, the person doesn't qualify for any bonus. What is going to happen is that bonus that is paid will just be directly included. Sorry, overtime that is paid will just be directly included in their total accessible income in that regard. But the way bonus is also taxed is that the way overtime is taxed is that overtime up to 50% of the employee's salary will be subject to a 5% withholding tax. And then anything in excess of 50% of the basic salary will be taxed from 10%. So with a junior staff, we don't include bonuses in their total accessible income. But if the person is not a junior staff, with junior staff, we don't include overtime in their total accessible income. However, if the person is a senior staff or the person is not a junior staff, any overtime paid shall be directly included in the chargeable income of the individual and taxed using the individual graduated tax rate. So, Nana Kwatin, that is how we treat the issue on bonus and overtime. I hope that that makes sense for you in that regard. Zachariah A. Jimba said, please say, what is the trick in passing corporate report CR paper? There is only one trick in passing corporate reporting paper. It's to understand the accounting standards. Because there is a 30-mark question waiting for you in the exam hall about accounting standards. That's key. Number two, ethics is going to be critical in the exam hall. There is a question on ethics in the exam hall. You make sure you understand. Please note, when we say ethics here, we mean application. So it is not about regurgitating integrity, confidentiality, professional competence, and due care. It is not about talking about self-interest threats, self-review threats, advocacy threats, familiarity threats, intimidation threats. No. It's about fixing it in the scenario, like bringing it, contextualizing it to the scenario that is given to you there. But standards, very critical. Ethics, very critical. Then the issue in relation to ratios. Spend time to understand ratios very well, because definitely there is a question for you in the exam hall on ratios, and your focus has to be your ability to be able to interpret those ratios in that regard, to be able to interpret the ratios in that regard. So that is it about that. Let's go back to YouTube and let's pick some questions from there. Osmanu, okay, I see Foster Bashos. Hi, Foster. I hope that you're doing well. Osmanu K. Amakua said, hi, say hello, Osmanu. I hope you're doing well. Kingsley Anan Vera said, good evening, sir. Watching live from UCC Valco Hall. All right. Thank you for joining me, and shout outs to all the people there. Sharifa said, please, I'm writing PSA, MA, and FR. My major challenge with the standard is IFRS 15, revenue. Okay, Sharifa, if IFRS 15 is your major challenge, the question is, what part of IFRS 15 or the whole show? Now, if I know the specific area of your challenge, then probably I can provide you with some strategy some explanation in there. However, I think we have a lot of content on the channel on IFRS 15 already. You are a paid student of my course, financial reporting, I guess, on our online portal. So watch the video, and maybe after the stream, you can send me a message on WhatsApp, and then let's see what the problem is so I can assist you to deal with that standard there. Lukman Jackman said, hi, Dr. Nhyira. Hello, Lukman. Please, I'm not a doctor, okay? So I'm just Nhyira. I don't want any problem. That is a big title. I've not reached there yet at all. I'm not reached there. I'm just children. I'm just children. I'm a child. I've not reached there yet. So that's it. Ima said, good evening, sir. Please help me to cover dividend valuation modules. Dividend, okay, so you're talking about business valuation, dividend valuation model. So business valuation, dividend valuation model. Okay, that's a huge one there. Sharifa said, MA has no specific format. How do we go about it? Now, I don't know the context in which you are asking the question as to MA has no specific format. But the truth of the matter is that management accounting has a format. The reason is that question 1, it's always going to be on performance evaluation. And the question can be on divisional performance evaluation. The question can be on the whole organization's performance using both financial indicators and then non-financial indicators. That's question 1. Definitely, we're going to be having question on budgeting coming in the exam hall, either the functional budget or master budget. That is going to be there. Definitely, we're going to be having question on standard costing and variance analysis. So you know that is going to be there. Either you are calculating the basic variances or the advanced variances, and most importantly, preparation of the operating statements. That is going to be there in the exam hall. We know that there is going to be a question on the issue in relation to short-term decisions. That is also going to be in the exam hall for you, short-term decisions. That is a crucial aspect of the syllabus. Is going to be there. So if you say management accounting has no format, like, I don't get it, because definitely you should be able to get a format and understand exactly what is going on. So if I know question 1 is on performance evaluation, and I'm going to be using both financial and non-financial performance indicators, then what is going to happen is that I have to make sure that I understand the financial performance indicators and then the non-financial performance indicators. And I think recently we solved some questions with my students here where we looked at both the financial and non-financial performance indicators in analyzing the performance of the organization. Then budgeting, very critical there. Standard costing, critical. Short-term decision, critical. Then investment appraisal. So Sharifa, I beg to disagree that management accounting has no format. It has a format. But the reason why management accounting becomes a bit challenging for students is because of the fact that people have challenge understanding the question because of the terminologies. So you want to spend your time to understand the various wordings used in management accounting. But in my view, it's not that it doesn't have a format. It has a format. And if you follow the format well, the structure of the exams well, and understand the principles well, Sharifa, I can guarantee you, you should be able to pass the management accounting exams in that regard. Kelvin Peters said, how do I go about a question on audit risks in advanced audits? Audit risks, right. That is a general question you just asked because it doesn't contextualize anything. But if the question is about audit risks, you know that the audit risks is equal to the inherent risks, the control risks, and then the detection risk. So usually, based on the scenario of the question, you are going to be identifying the inherent risks and control risks, and that is to be able to assess the risks of material misstatement. So in going about questions on audit risks, you must, number 1, identify the risks and state exactly what type of risks that they are. Are they inherent risks? Are they control risks? And then what is the impact of those risks on the financial statement that we are going to be auditing? Will it, is the materiality material or it's not material? Is the misstatement material and pervasive? We have to understand all that. So in approaching audit risk questions, you read a scenario, and based on whatever the examiner says you find, maybe he says identify the audit risks, then that means you have to state what the inherent risks are. Not necessarily stating that just the audit inherent risks, but as you read the scenario, you find out if the company has some controls issues that are not working on well, then that is the issue about control risks. And how does that affect the financial statement? So that is a key issue there that you need to understand in that regard. So audit risks. Toby said, good evening, sir. Is it possible to read up for 2 ICA papers within 2 weeks? Is it possible to read up for 2 ICA papers within 2 weeks? I don't understand your question, Toby. Do you mean you are sitting for 2 papers, but you are now starting to study? Is that what you meant by that? I don't know. Contextualize that. Because if you say you are reading 2 papers for 2 weeks, then maybe you are really getting yourself into something you don't want to get yourself into in that regard. DJ said, yes, thank you so much for your explanation. Always a pleasure. Timothy said, on what I posted, the requirement is to prepare P&L and position. So I actually want the treatment on that footnote. Thanks. Yes, in the question, in the thing you posted, the examiner or the question said the entity doesn't expect that the goods will be returned. So if they don't expect that the goods will be returned, that means the revenue has been earned. So there is no need for us to do any adjustment to the revenue figure in that case. Assuming they expected that they will not receive that, then a provision would have to be made for that sales because it's on sales or return basis. So in that case, we wouldn't include it in revenue. The cost will not be included in cost of sales. Then possibly on the statement of financial position also, the inventory is going to be included in the closing inventory, but we have to disclose that part of the closing inventory is on a sale or return condition from a customer or with a customer. Ade Bojo Adewole said, sorry if I don't mention your name right, okay? Forgive me. I don't mean to do it wrong. Adewale said, hello, I've been using your YouTube videos to prepare for my ICAG here in Nigeria, and it's very helpful. Well done, sir. Thank you very much, and we thank God that the channel is able to help you. This is why I said you guys should give us a thumbs up on the video. You guys should share the video, because the more you are sharing these videos, the more you are making the video more engaging, the more YouTube and Facebook will be able to push these videos, and the more we can get to many people and assist them in various areas. And you don't know what your share, what your like, what your thumbs up is doing. It's really helping and will help other people in there. So thank you very much, Adewale, and I wish you all the best as you prepare for your exams there. Pinipiri said, good evening, sir. Thus, we have come so far. God bless you real good, sir. I learned 2 Ghanaian words so far under your tutelage. Abeje and Subaba. Hey, really? What words are those, Pinipiri? Abeje. What word was that? I don't know. Maybe I need to remember that. Then Subaba. Whoa. Okay. Oh. Osman said, watching from Winneba. All right. Mike Okan said, hello, Nhyira. Can you please explain to us how to determine the current and non-current element of a lease liability payable semi-annually in advance? Thanks. Thank you. Okay, so that is under IFRS, what, 16? Leases. Now, if the lease liability is payable semi-annually, then what is going to be happening is that you're going to do your schedule. So when you do your schedule, it is payable in advance, meaning that semi-annually. So you will do for the first 6 months, the second 6 months in 1 year. Then you do for the second, another 6 months, and another 6 months in another year. So what is going to be happening is that because it is payable in advance, you're going to do for 2 periods. Okay, you do for 2 periods. So that the current amount for the second period becomes your non-current liability. Then what is going to be happening is that the difference between the two becomes your current liability in that case. I think it will be good for us to pick a question on that and maybe contextualize it very well. So I'm adding this to my topic slides here because I'll be organizing some sessions. I'm seeing if we can organize some sessions and solve some questions there. So let me contextualize even your question here. Lease liability. Payable semi-annually. Semi-annually in advance. All right, so I'm going to contextualize that and we see what we're going to do. Michael Oguntola said, my challenge is performance measurement. How do I position myself to answering the questions? Like I've told you already, performance management is like that is F5 in ACCA, and management accounting in level 2 ICAG in that case. Like I say all the time, spend time to understand the basic principles in management accounting. That is very, very critical. You must understand the absorption costing principle, the marginal costing principle, because remember, these principles are actually going to be running through as you prepare yourself for the exams in these subjects in that regard. So you want to make sure that you understand the issue in relation to the basic principles underlining performance management, and then understand the structure of the examination, and then spend some time to solve a lot of questions. Then you should be able to position yourself. Like I say all the time, many a time people say it doesn't have a structure, but it does have a structure. If you understand the structure of the exams well, then you can position yourself to pass the exams. Ebenezer Sai said, good evening, Nhyira. Good evening, Ebenezer. Hope you're doing well. And then, who do we have here? Adewale said, performance management is really the big deal for me as well. How do I position myself properly? Okay, so I think I've shared some thought on that. Sandra Asari said, thank you, Nhyira. You are welcome. Max Bedin, Max Tip said, please, how do you approach with ICAG FR examination question? Like I tell you guys all the time, financial reporting, you want to position yourself. Number one, stay away from question 1, consolidated financial statement. Stay away from that. When you go to your FR exams, the first thing you want to do is to go and answer the questions on ethics. Go and answer the question on the conceptual framework and regulatory framework. When you move from there, go and answer the question on the ratios, evaluation of financial statements. Then you can go to the standards and then the single entity financial statement. So before you are approaching the consolidated financial statement, you've answered the other 4 questions and position yourself strategically. It is for this reason why I mentioned that make sure you understand the accounting standards in financial reporting very, very well, because it is actually 40% and over in the example. You have a dedicated 20-mark question on the standards, and then if you are dealing with single entity financial statement, each footnote is actually an accounting standard. So if you really contextualize the whole thing, accounting standards is actually 40% and over in the ICA financial reporting exams. So if you want to pass the exams, spend time with the accounting standards, understand the ethics, understand the conceptual framework, regulatory framework, spend time to understand the ratios, and most importantly, the interpretation of the ratios, and that is going to be very critical in order for you to pass the exams in that case. What else we got? Sandra Asari said, what are the main steps in the preparation of a master budget. When it comes to preparation of master budget, the main steps, we mentioned that the budget committee is going to meet. They will identify what the principal budget factor is. The sales budget is going to be prepared. Other functional budgets are going to be prepared. We prepare the cash budget, then we can prepare the budgeted income statement and the budgeted statement of financial position. So these are the main steps we go through in the preparation of the budget. And once the master budget is prepared, once the functional budget is prepared, all the departmental heads will come before the budget committee and come and defend their budgets to state why the budget should be approved and be included in the master budget in that regard. So the general steps in the preparation of master budget is that thing that I just mentioned. Sharifa said, please touch up on life cycle and transfer pricing for me. Oh, that is a huge area there. Life cycle and transfer pricing. I mean, these are huge topical areas that we need to look out for. So I'm writing these topics down. I'm looking at how I could coagulate them topically together. Then we could have a session possibly over the weekend or in the course of next week to cover some of these things. So you stay with us. Make sure you follow me on Instagram because the discussion and whatever we are going to be doing will be posted on my Instagram page at Nhyira Premium. So make sure you follow me on Instagram, and so that when I post the details about some of these sessions, specifically that we'll be covering later on, you will be able to get a notification and join. George Ampofo said, big man, it's been a while we had you on live. We miss you. Definitely, I miss you guys too. Anyway, please give us tips on how to prepare and pass man accounting, the structure, and how to answer the questions. Okay, George, I think I've mentioned that. I don't know the time that you brought in that comment though, but I brought in the structure of the exams that I mentioned. That question 1 is going to be on performance evaluation, and that is going to be using either financial indicators and then non-financial indicators, or both of them, or just one of them. We are going to be seeing a question on budgeting. You are going to be seeing a question on standard costing. You're going to be seeing a question on short-term decision. That is where it is a broad area. You're going to be looking at various things coming in that regard under short-term decisions. But the key thing is that you need to spend time to understand the basic principles of underlining each of the topics. So if you take standard costing and variance analysis, what are the basic principles? One of the things I tell my students all the time is that when you're doing standard costing and variance analysis, it is not enough for you to keep the formulas in your mind or chew formulas. It is about understanding the concept of how the computation is done. How do we, when we say direct material price variance, what are we trying to achieve? When we say direct material usage variance, what are we trying to achieve? When we say the material mix variance, what are we trying to achieve? So understanding the concept that underline the topics will position you strategically in order for you to pass the examination. And management accounting, it's going to be, depending on how excited the examiner is, 40% written, 60% computation. So 40% written or comments, and then 60% computation. So if you are writing management accounting, in as much as you are spending time solving questions on variances, solving questions on budgeting, solving questions on investment appraisal, solving questions on short-term decisions, please spend some time to read the theories as well. Because whether you like it or not, there is minimum, like depending on how excited the examiner is, 40% written and comments in your management accounting exams. So if I know that, then, and under every topic, there is a theory there. Under every topic, there is a theory there. So you want to make sure that you know theory is going to be 60%. That is, and then calculation, theory is going to be 40, calculation is going to be 60%. So what do? When I'm learning, I position myself strategically, spend time about the theories. And this is where some people tell me that in Nhyira, the reading is boring. If you read then you forget. If you read then you forget. It's a lie. You are not just studying well. That is why when you read, you forget. If you should study well, there is no way you will read and forget. But whatever you have to do, find a way and make sure that you understand the reading aspect and the comment aspects in that regard. So George, that is what I would say. In the exam hall, make sure that you spend time to answer the written aspects that you can do as fast as possible in the exam hall. Then that is why you need to read through all the questions well. One of the traps that students fall into is the dogma of not being able to read the questions in its totality to understand exactly what is going on. And then you make sure that as you are reading the question, you are interpreting it bit by bit. So you chew the question bit by bit. So you don't read a whole one-page question and now ask, what am I doing? No, you read the requirement, then you start reading the question. So as you read a question, you underline. For instance, let me show you something here. This is, for instance, the strategic case study pre-sin, right? The May 2021 strategic case study pre-sin. Now, look at what I'm doing. I'm reading this case study, but what am I doing? You can see my writings coming in there. You can see the red ink, the yellow ink, the green ink, the blue ink coming in there. I'm reading, I'm trying to explain, finding out exactly what is going on, giving various interpretation on exactly what is going on there in that case. Now, that is what you want to do. Chew the thing bit by bit. So as you read, you're building the knowledge. As you read, you're building the knowledge. Because if you say you read everything and finish, you even forget what you just read from the beginning. So that is the strategy that I will also suggest to you for those of you doing man accounting. And this applies actually to all the subjects, financial reporting, corporate reporting. This same strategy applies to you guys also there in that regard. Come on, I'm getting a ton of questions. Can I even answer all of these questions? I'm thinking that probably over the weekend, we need to have some Q&A sessions. Let me know, Saturday, Sunday evening. Can we have some Q&A session? What do you think? Is this something you guys will be excited about? Let me know in the chat box, in the comment box. If it is something you guys would want us to do, let's see how we can pull that up. Saturday, Sunday, we can have some Q&A session, maybe some 2 hours, where I sit down and answer your specific questions. Probably during that time, if you shoot me up with a question for instance, like life cycle, transfer pricing, I can dive deeper into it because we will have the time available. So let me know in the chat box if it is something you guys will be interested in. Let me know in the comment box if it is something you will be interested in. Maybe we can have a session on that. If not to, then we can let it slide in that regard. Kids Entertainment Series, the Gambia said, hey, I'm a Brima from the Gambia. I'm following your YouTube lectures, especially consideration of financial statement, and it's very useful to me. Thanks. Always a pleasure. Sorry. DJ Joe said, please, could you speak more on Fitzgerald and Moon building block, Bowman's strategic clock, and Porter's? Wow, these are key modules there. So let me bring them up. Now, DJ, there is already a video on my channel on the Fitzgerald and Moon. I think last year I did a video around November or October on the Moon, Fitzgerald and Moon. So check my channel, the playlist strategic case study or so. You should get that module in there. But I'm going to still put it down here, Fitzgerald and Moon. Building block. What else did you say? The strategic clock. These are critical modules there. The Porter's 5 forces. Check the channel as you have videos on Porter's 5 forces as well. And then for pistol framework, there's a video there. The pistol module. So you can check the channel and you could get some videos on these modules. But time may not permit me today to share my thought on all these modules. So let me know in the chat box, like I said, if it is something that you'll be excited about for us to have some weekend sessions in that regard. Matilda Nyaneba said, thanks a lot for your efforts, sir. Always a pleasure, Matilda. Love you so much. DJ said, please, could you, okay, I just answered that. Kelvin Peter said, kindly explain transfer pricing with regards to Taxation, okay. Transfer pricing on taxation. Now that's also a huge aspect there because there are many types of transfer pricing modules that we need to look out for. So time will not allow me to talk about it today, but like I said, if we are supposed to have some other sessions, I could cover that for you. So I'm writing it down. Mohammed Suleiman has said, I'm even afraid to sleep nowadays because because of this exam. Come on, Mohammed, you've got to sleep, okay? I mean, you can't kill yourself now. So, I mean, sleep a little bit, all right? Just that you need to make sure you balance yourself because you got to be emotionally stable. You got to be psychologically sound and you got to be mentally balanced so that you'll be able to really go into the exam more. Because if you don't really balance your emotions, your psychology, and your and everything concerning you, I mean, it will affect you. So, I mean, spend some time to sleep a little bit, and also study for the exams. Henry Tete said, hello, sir. Can you take us through the concept of EVA, which is one of the new topics yet to be examined in MA? Yeah, the concept of EVA, it's in performance evaluation. That's also a huge aspect there. Probably I need to talk about that later on. So I will put the formula down and then we will talk about it later on as we move ahead. Dubim Inaji said, hi, Nhyira, please, how many questions is enough? As much as questions as you can get, okay? Because the more you expose yourself to questions, the better your chances of knowing the various areas about what you are studying. So as much questions as you can, you expose yourself to it. Just that you must be careful because sometimes the more questions you solve, if you are not careful, you'll be like, I'm unprepared, and it will increase your level of anxiety. So you need to set a cap, understand a bit. That is why I always say understand the principles. If you understand the principles, solve some few questions where you can apply them, you should be okay in that regard. But as many as, or as much as questions you can solve or get your hands on, you need to go for it. Henry said, Nhyira, I learned marginal costing and absorption costing is now for level 1 students. How true is that? Because it's been a while I saw a question on that and also pricing as well. Now, marginal costing and absorption costing are fundamental concepts in management accounting. Why is that? Because the marginal costing principle is used in short-term decision making. If you are dealing with break-even analysis, relevant cost analysis, you are dealing with special order decisions, you are dealing with make or buy decisions, what you are doing is you are using the marginal costing principle. So not necessarily the examiner bringing you a question on calculate profit statement using absorption costing or marginal costing, but the principle of marginal costing is usable throughout the course. Absorption costing principle is also critical because if you are preparing budgeting, the absorption costing principle is going to be there. If you are doing variance analysis, the absorption principle is going to be there. Because if the entity is using the absorption costing principle, the variances you compute about fixed overheads is going to be different from when the company is using the marginal costing system. So not necessarily about the fact that marginal costing and absorption costing is now for level 1. No, the concept is valid for level 2. So the fact that you may go to the exam or in the last 3 examination sittings, you've not seen any question on absorption costing and marginal costing does not mean the principles are not used. The principles are used throughout the course and the short-term decision making and the variance analysis and the budgeting. These principles run through. These principles run through. Even if you are dealing with transfer pricing, the marginal costing principle is going to be there when you are dealing with the concept of transfer pricing. So please don't throw it away. The principle is critical as you study for those other areas. Joe Sachs channel said, I joined Audit and Assurance last month. I learned due to time constraints. I can try solve as much past questions as possible. I don't know if I am good to go with that. Audit and assurance is not about solving questions. Like I tell you all the time, the first thing is to understand the principles. But one thing you need to understand is that as you are going into the audit and assurance examination, there are key areas that the examiner is going to be setting questions on. Audit planning, there's going to be a question on that in the exam hall. Ethical issues is critical. The examiner is going to be setting some questions on. Audit report is going to be setting some questions on. I think you're talking about audit and assurance. That is level 2. And then, so internal controls is a critical area. The examiner is going to be setting some questions on in that regard. So you must make sure you understand the rules governing these basic principles. Materiality is very, very critical there. The examiner is going to be bringing something on that. Audit procedure and audit evidence is very critical. The examiner is definitely going to be bringing something on that. So you must understand the basics of this before approaching any questions. It is not just about, oh, I read the question. This is the solution. So when the question says this, this is what you do. Okay, what if you go to the exam hall and what you have done in the questions are not in the exam hall? What do you do? So it's about going back to the drawing board and understanding the basic concepts and the basic principles in that regard. Timothy said, yeah, on Zoom, Sunday and Saturday, we are up for it and we solve questions too. Okay, Henry said, we are excited about the Q&A session, but what time is it going to be so we can prepare adequately for Rick? Thanks. Okay, well noted, thanks. Okay, Mohammed said, I've studied and practiced all questions in FR and MA in the ICAG manual and question bank. Yet still, I feel like I know nothing for now. Now, Mohammed, I think your problem is the basic concept and the basic principles that I keep on talking to you guys about all the time. It's not about how many questions you solve technically, but it's about the basic principles you need to understand. Listen carefully. For instance, tax. Like I said, this is a document that I prepared for my tax students, both level 2 and level 3 tax students, and we are updating this document as we speak here so that they will get the revised version on this document. The purpose of this document is to table out all the principles students must know when it comes to taxation, whether you are doing principles of taxation or advanced taxation. So it is about understanding the principles. Now, back to your issue about MA and FR, you've solved all the questions in the kit, but you still feel you don't know anything. It is because I don't know how you were solving the questions. Maybe you solved it, and then you went to check the solution, and you felt you understood the solution. Then you solve another question because in the question kit, when it comes to standard, there are more questions on the all various standards. So if you solve all those questions but fail still that you know nothing, then it goes back to the principles. You really don't understand the basic principles about the subject that you are writing. For that reason, I would recommend that you go back to the drawing board, slow down a little bit, identify what are the standards I have problem with. Go back, learn them, study them, come back and get some questions to solve. MA, what are the topics that I have problem with? Identify them, understand them, and then go back to the drawing board, learn all the principles there, and go and solve some questions in that regard. So that is the issue. That is what I would say. Because what you are feeling is serious. When you have gone through the whole thing and you feel you don't know anything, it means that there's a problem with how you went through it. Probably you just went through it and you didn't pay attention to the basic principles. So now if you pick questions even outside the kit, you begin to freak out. And that is not a good thing in that case. So I would say, Mohammed, go back to the drawing board, find out the areas that you have challenges with, and then spend some time to answer that in that case. Okay, so I'm seeing 3 people opting in for us to do the Q&A. Okay, only 3 people. All right. You will see if we get more people interested in that, then possibly we can get that going. Okay, Mohammed, you are welcome. Senior Kawewa on Facebook said, talk a little bit about Working capital management. Again, that is a huge topic. We don't do that topic a little. It's a huge area. So I'm going to add it to my topic slides here so we can see working capital management. We did a poll also, I think, about 2 weeks ago, and some of you indicated the topics you would want me to look out for. I have that one also here. So if it happens that our session is going to come on, then I'm going to be approaching or addressing all that as well. Where is this? Yeah, so these were some of the topics that I got from our pool that we asked questions on the channel, as well as on my Instagram page. Basic accounting, basis of accounting, capital gain tax, marginal costing and absorption costing, high purchase, taxation of partnership, capital reduction, trade receivables management and working capital management, risk management, business valuation, IAS 12, IFRS 9, acquisition and disposals in corporate reporting, IFRS 13, business valuation. So these are all topics that we've received as well from our pool. So we're going to be putting them together in as per the subjects, then we will cover them specifically. So that if we are doing a Q&A and it is FR and CR, we know we are dealing with the standards FR and CR, and then the FR and CR people will jump on the call, then we deal with the standards, and then ratio interpretation. If we are doing management accounting, then financial management students can also join so that the issue about investment appraisal could be discussed when we are discussing that as well. So we will see how the pool of these will come in as we continue with that. Please help me with corporate reporting key areas. I think we've already spoken about that. Nana Kwatin said, I'm interested, sir. Okay. Henry said, sir, please, what time for the Q&A session on Saturday and Sunday? The question will be good. I support that. All right. Roland Darko said, you are doing well, sir. Thank you very much. So like I said, follow me on Instagram at Nhyira Premium. And the details about that will be posted on my Instagram page and as well as on our community page here on YouTube so that you'll be able to get a notification on how it's going to be. But like I said, it's going to be specific to subjects. So we will deal with CR and FR together. If we are dealing with CR and FR together, then we are looking at the accounting standards. So in that place or during those discussions, then we're just going to be focusing on the standards people have problem with. I share my thought on it. If it is ratios you have problem with, I share my thought on it, that kind of thing. So we'll be doing it like that and see how it goes in that regard. So please follow me on Instagram at Nhyira Premium in case you're not following me. And if you are following me also, make sure you stay connected because details about that, if it is going to be pulling up, if our team can pull that up, then we can make it happen so that I can be on the stream with you guys in that case. Because I'm seeing if that can be pulled up so that we can assist a lot of you guys, all right? Sometimes you need some clarity, just some small clarity to save you. And I believe that some of these sessions will help you just to just clear your mind, give you the blueprints, and then boom, you can go into the exam hall and pass the exams. Kelvin Peters said, what are the key areas to look out for in advanced audit and assurance? Peter, I think I just mentioned something about advanced audit and assurance here. Planning, audit planning, engagement planning, and acceptance. Factors to consider before accepting an engagement. Audit planning is going to be critical there. Ethical issues, very critical. There is a question waiting for you in the exam hall about ethical issues in advanced audit and assurance. Audit procedures, whether you like it or not, it is waiting for you in the exam hall, and audit evidence gathering. Then the audit reports, whether we should amend the audit report, going concern issues, those things are going to be there. So thematically, every major aspect of audit and assurance is actually very critical there. But I know ethical issues and appropriate courses of action is going to be there in the exam hall. Audit procedure and audit evidence is going to be there in the exam hall. Something about audit planning and acceptance of engagement is definitely going to be there in the exam hall. Then something about audit reporting is definitely going to be there in the exam hall. So Kevin Peters, that is what I would say in relation to that. That is what I would say in relation to that. All right, so that will be it for our discussion today, and being able to provide you with some guidelines in here. I'll be coming your way again tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll be coming your way at 4:30 p.m. So you make sure that you join me on the live stream tomorrow. And chances are on the live stream tomorrow, I'll continue to answer your questions like this. And then I will be touching some of the things here. Then I'll be touching some of the things here as well, as we have mentioned. So, Sharifa, if you are still watching, tomorrow definitely I'll touch on the transfer pricing issue on the live stream when I start in the beginning. Then life cycle costing you mentioned. The one who asked the question on the IFRS 16, tomorrow I'm going to be touching on that as well in the beginning stages. Then Henry said, Sir, could you please give us a general overview of cash flow statement? Okay, so we're going to be adding that as well to our question catalogs. That is in financial reporting, and we will address all of these ones as well as we continue. All right, so that will be all for today. We have our advanced audit and assurance class coming up in the next few minutes. So I'm going to be concluding around here today, and it's always my pleasure coming your way and providing with some assistance that you need in order for you to prepare well for your examination. My objective, as always, is to be able to assist you, provide you with the blueprints that you need and the assistance that you require so that you go into the exam more confidently, answer the questions, and make sure that you pass the exams. Because, hey, at the end of the day, if you pass the exams, you're going to make your life more better. You're going to be more happy. You're going to take your life to the next level. Yeah, it's not a guarantee, but definitely there's a reason why you are doing this course. And so put in all your efforts, put in all your sacrifice, whatever it is that you have to do legitimately, make sure you do it and just pass the exams. Now, people say it's just 50%. No, don't aim for 50%. If you aim for 50%, you're going to fail the exams. Aim to be the best student. How about being the best financial reporting student for the May 2021 examination, overall best student? How about that? That would be great. Aim higher, aim for gold, aim that I'm going to get like 70%, 80%, so that if you are falling, you will fall but still pass. But if your mindset is, oh, I'm going into the exam hall and I'm just going in for 50%, 50%, you're going to screw yourself up and your chances of passing the exams is going to be very, very thin in relation to that. So that is what you need to understand. And I'll see you same time tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. as we continue with our discussion in that regard. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and let's stay connected and let's see how we can assist you to become more successful and most importantly, take your life to the next level. So you take care of yourself and I'll see you same time tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. GMT. Bye-bye.